All right, let's see if we can pick this up where I left off. All right, so okay, so again, going back to that late '98, early '99. Okay, I just again, I honestly don't remember this. That um, that I mean, she had ordered it 6 months prior to when I started it. I don't recall that happening. I mean, whether she did this um, with my knowledge or without, I'm clueless. Okay, I just do not recall this. Okay, um, granted, I had a few bad things going on in life then. So I mean, I don't know. And you see, here's the problem. You see, again, you can't fight clinical city hall here, right? Because again, what goes down in these patients' notes, okay, that's the biblical truth right there, okay, and you can't contest and argue with the authority, all right. So but again, like I said, sorry, it just strikes me very strange that um, that she says right here, Zyprexa 5 milligrams ordered on the 9th of March in '99, and I mean, I just don't get it, and um, and as I just said before the break, I mean, it was right after Labor Day. That's when I first started taking it. All right, so and I had. As I was going to say, I mean, that's when she told me about the tardive dyskinesia, FDA disclaimer, and like I was going to say, I mean, that made me very apprehensive. Okay, but I decided to go for it and just give it a shot. All right. So, you know, I just I just don't understand this uh, um, right, this 6 month gap. Okay, and um, and as I said earlier, I mean, there is a 5 year gap of no records. Okay, so I don't know. And then let me just see. Okay, so then so anyway, that's what happened in the late '90s. Okay, um, now as far as moving up, I discovered moving up. And like I said, sorry, a variety of things. I read in these clinical notes. Okay, all right, I didn't have a clue that she was writing these things. All right. Now, I want to go up to. Actually, to keep it, chronologically on the timeline here. Um, Remember spring 2007, the major numbness episode on the right side of the body, right? Now, that'll be good just to again keep things on the time stream here. Let me just move up here to 2007. Okay, here we go. All right, now, okay, just here we go. All right. So on the appointment I had after that numbness episode. Okay. Um, okay. Here we are. So she's taking notes how I am informing her what had happened, and. She claims that I was at the I went to the office of for a doctor's appointment at the PCP. Um, that was not the case. I contacted their office and I had like visiting nurses come by. which she states, oh, BNA came by, but she again, it cracks me up. She says, oh, 10 days later, I was in, the doctor's office. I, I didn't go, I did not go to his office, again, another screw up. And okay, so, now you might remember, wait a minute. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so now when I remember when I as I like to say, fired the legal warning shot about legally going after Eli Lilly. Okay, I can't find any mention of this, of me saying this to her. Big surprise, huh? Yeah. Do you think she's gonna write that down? Of course not. And remember, I told her at least 2 different appointments. Okay, I cannot find any mention of this in her notes. You see, again, we clinicians know how to cover our asses. All right. So, so anyway, that was, going through 2008, 2007, 2008. All right, and I'm going to be coming up here on getting close to 2011, 2012 here, all right? Okay, just all right, sorry, here we go. Okay, all right, and but just one other thing to mention, again, a couple things. The most I ever took, again, was 2.5 milligrams, okay? I was prescribed 5 milligrams because what I was doing was cutting them in half, because that was cost effective, okay? Back in those days, all right? In order to, save money, all right? And I know some of you know exactly what I'm talking, mean by that. So let me just see here. All right, 2010. And then there was one other, and she, as some of you know, I've touched upon this. I really, the bulk of my life, I've always had this hypersensitivity to noise. Okay, and again, I mean, she picked up on that, and again, mentions this. The reason being because it makes me, sleep deprived. It makes me irritable, and I mean, this is another source of, it's another problem for me. And like I said, I've had this the bulk of my life, and no, but you see, without getting into detail, it was just another way for her to capture and captivate that, in using my sensitivity to noise as being just an irritable person, you see, and okay, this was nice. Back in October 2010, I reported, that was in the fall. I was sleeping about 9 hours a night. Those were the days, right? And apparently she, and sorry to digress here for a second, no, some of you, again, know, I do, as I said, I like cats and such, and I do have a collection of these animated cats, all right? A real one would be nice, but I don't need one, waking me up at 3 a.m. deciding it's playtime, all right? No, but there are a couple, the reason I say this, there were a couple, at least 2, maybe 3 different appointment dates where, she mentions, it's like, oh, well, he has lots of stuffed animals, cats. And I'm like, yeah, I'm reading this, I'm like, say, well, like, how is that clinically relevant, bitch? You know, I mean, I don't get it. You know, and just so you know, of course, and it goes with the territory. You know, they're part of their job is to be observers, okay, of your appearance, of how you're dressed, the living conditions that you're in, okay. All of this has the potential of being jotted down. Okay, just something to remember in the event you are not already aware of this. Okay, um, and oh, and I'll tell you this. No, I'm chronologically going ahead here. This is back in January of 2011, and now, God, I'm not sure if I ever mentioned this, but you see, I I'm trying to think how many years. I mean, especially, um, I'm going to say especially the past. I'm going to say a good 15 years now. Um, and again, maybe this is Zyprexa related or not. Maybe this did this to myself. I can't say for sure. No, but I've over these past 15 years, I've had in what's the word I'm looking for, aversion, to heat. Okay, I mean, heat makes me like nervous and panicky, and I like to be cool even during the winter. Okay, and and again, this cracks me up. I mean, she actually, in the January, again, this is January 2011. She makes a comment about, "Ooh, the patient keeps the apartment cool and trying to save money and such, and all this." But it's like, see again, this is yet another thing that I mean, they're like, I like to use the phrase. At times, these people can be the clinical equivalent of a vacuum cleaner. Sometimes a rattlesnake, but a vacuum cleaner. They're always looking to suck in and extract information, whether it comes out of your mouth or if they're observing this themselves with their own eyes and ears. Okay, again, I just want you to keep that in mind. All right. So anyway, okay, I'm getting close here to 2011, 2012 here with the Zyprexa situation and entering withdrawal mode. You're going to love this. And again, sorry that you've had to wait this long to hear this, because I see. I think we're probably working on 45 minutes already. Sorry about that, but. And anyway, there. September of 2011. No. So of course this would have been like whatever, 4 months before beginning withdrawal. Okay. And she makes a note here, September of 2011, that I have been experiencing stuttering, sleep apnea, and early neurological symptoms, also AFib. Well, although whether it's AFib or just some kind of tachycardia or whatever, with like skipped heartbeats. Okay. And I can tell you, as I recall, the first time I ever had skipped heartbeats was around 2006. There was a family history of it, but whether Zyprexa had anything to do with it, I don't have the answer to that. Okay, just making a little disclosure on that. All right. So, okay, so. Okay, we're getting down to the tail end here. You think she could have put these things in order, right? Jeez, I'm telling you. Okay, and all right, sorry about this, and all right, moving along. Okay. Well, no. Whenever I do a pause, it's like it becomes a new file. Okay, so it's not as if I can just pause and resume in the same file with the video program that I'm using. Okay, so thank you for bearing with me if you're still there. All right. Oh, you know what? Hey, I'll tell you this. Now, of course, back in the day, pre-withdrawal, okay, I mean, things were on relatively good terms. I mean, in with her secretary or whatever, I had some good, chats on the phone and correspondence. There were a few times where I sent a card at Christmas, okay, and I'm not surprised. What do you think Psycho Cunt did? She kept these cards and made copies of them and enclosed them in her response of her clinical notes about me. Okay, so and in her response that she filed, she says, "Oh, this came as such a blow to me." Well, that's why I say never trust a smiling cat, bitch. So, okay, I'm getting close to, okay, so here we are in January 2012. Okay, so, and again, once again mentioning about living in a cold apartment. Well, hey, if you're chilled, get the fuck out of here, right? There's the door, bitch. So anyway, now here we go. April 2012. Okay, and again, my apologies that it took this long to get here. So this, okay, so what I'm about to read, I'm not going to read it all, is her written notes about what I said during that appointment. Okay. So she said, so this is, again, this is coming from my mouth, and she's writing either what she hears or what she chooses to hear. Touch of sarcasm there. So I'm saying that Zyprexa has been the cause of stuttering, stroke-like numbness, and sleep apnea attacks. That I, which I started taking back in 1999. Stuttering began around 2001. I say, I went into respiratory arrest the last 3 to 5 years. Has been more often. I guess the case since 2007 onward. And again, this is when, and I went on to mention how, the 2007 episode of the right side going numb and such, and of course, again, that there was, like I said, there was no, well, she mentions it now, but you see, she, and of course she mentioned it in 2007, but it's like, I just, like I said, in 2012, I mean, there was no response, from her about this, remembering from 2007. And I don't see how you can forget such a thing. I don't know. I just don't get it. But, and then, so I go on to talk about, of course, this is, roughly 3 months into withdrawal mode, and Okay, well, actually, okay, so it started weaning off about 10 weeks earlier. Um, and let me just see. So her she observes my mood as being angry and paranoid. Yeah, no shit, honey, right? And now her assessment, okay. So she says that I have beliefs that Zyprexa has been damaging to him, and that he must now continue to live with taking a tiny bit of the 2.5 milligram tablet in order to ward off these attacks. Um, and where it is, but and then her, her assessment is that for me to like consider the probability, not possibility, the probability that these sleep apnea attacks, being nocturnal anxiety attacks and other side effects, might also be due to anxiety condition. Patient not receptive to this info. No shit, honey. You know, and by the way, the first thing she says in quotes, "This is our final appointment." Well, I said this may be our final appointment. I didn't say this is our final appointment. See, and again, I mean, she hears what she wants to hear. I mean, she's a clinical cunt. All right, it's a bunch of clinical bullshit, and and again, so again, that was April the 12th of 2012. All right. And then, of course, it was later that month when the infamous phone call occurred to her about, when I was to advise her of the symptoms, and to which, again, sorry for being repetitive here, when I was told, oh, well, hey, I've only prescribed it on a limited basis. I don't have any experience taking people off of it. Okay. All right. Now, of course, again, I don't see any mention of this phone call in this investigation. Okay. What and this was mentioned in the complaint. Why it's not mentioned here? Okay. I don't know. Again, like I said earlier, I would have expected it to like I said, to have been mentioned with the variety of things. I mean, it's very. This pisses me off. Insufficient evidence. No kidding. Because it's like these things are not here that I reported. I don't know. Okay, I'm just going through after July now of 2012. I inform her that I'm still going through withdrawal of Zyprexa, 12 years plus of being organically addicted and biochemically addicted to the substance. I am still not off of it. The main effects being tingling of my hands, feet, face, neurosensory effects. And other, okay, well, she says withdrawal effects and insomnia, nausea, panic. Second half of April, muscles going stiff gradually. How I increased the dose. Withdrawal effects went away within a week or two. Mid-May, began to wean off again. Now sleeping about 7 to 7.5 hours. No more naps. Well, Oh boy, what I'd do for 7.5 hours, I don't know. Late April, I had a slight tremor, twitching in legs, sleep apnea. Well, it disappeared, whatever. Okay, so that was July 2012. And I don't know. It just so. Like I said earlier, if I think I did. No, I mean. Okay. So again, in December 2012, and again here, I make a comment. 3 months now since the last sleep apnea episode. All right, so I don't know. No, but this cracks me up. And also in that December 2012, yeah, so she claims that the PCP had prescribed, a statin for cholesterol. Honey, that didn't happen. The very first time I saw him, which would have bin 6 years earlier, we did try a statin very briefly, but I didn't react well to that. All right. So I mean, again, this lady is, oh God Almighty, I'm telling you. I mean, God. All right, and I'm just trying to see. Okay, and then to wrap things up here in 2013. Okay, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. Oh, this is. Okay. Yeah, this is correct. This is kind of like a checklist here of. This is March 2013, and on the scale of 1 to 10, my mood was a 3. Anxiety 6. Anxious. Speech is rapid. Persistent beliefs about the sleep apnea, undiagnosed. So, and I don't know, I'm telling you. Insight and judgment, poor. Problems. Paranoid. Paranoid personality. Okay, like I said, it's always nice to know what people think of you, right? And by the way, this is somebody, if I didn't mention, apparently she's been married like 3 times. Don't you just love it when these so-called wonderful professional clinicians are a bunch of fucking dickheads and they don't have their own fucking lives together? God, give me a freaking break. What a cunt. Dissatisfaction with mental health, prescribing provider. Yeah, no shit, honey. Anxiety disorder, depressive disorder, paranoia. No, bitch, I'm a ticked off bastard. 'Cause you fucked up, honey. So, all right, like I said, that was, what was that? That was March 2013. And then let me just see here. Sorry, the final in July 16th, 2013. Let me see what we have to say here. Goodness, I wasn't reading this chicken scratching here. You know, I mentioned the bad one I had on Memorial Day weekend, 2013. You know that was actually you know, the second video that I ever did. Um, um, you know, like I said, that was back in the spring of 2013. And you know, and how I mentioned, you know, you have, you know, trouble concentrating, focusing, you know, and the numbers that I experienced, you know, during that episode in the head. Okay, so, yes, the wonderful mental status exam. Let's see. Ooh. My mood was a 0. And those are the consequences of your actions, bitch. What do you expect me to have a fucking 10 on there? I was raped by you, you fucking cunt. I was a fucking guinea pig. I'm telling you. Yeah, so she claims I have like a 6 to 7 on the anxiety level. Situationally, or just because of the anxiety, or because of the Zyprexa situation. You know, and she claims, and see, get this, she claims I'm having delusional thoughts concerning the somatic side effects. Okay, so again, my take on this is that, you know, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, right? What's this here? Speech. Okay, it says normal. But then she wrote in. I'm not sure if this is about speech or the thought process. She says that I'm being illogical and delusional. I'm telling you, my insight and judgment fare the poor. Patient is believing he has multiple medication side effects since because of taking a crumb-sized dose of olanzapine, paranoid personality, depression major, you know, like I said, I have lost all faith in this friggin' system, and you know, like I said earlier, I just will not. I will not completely trust another clinician, or, you know, again, completely. You know, and I mean, I do. I'm not going to mention their names. I'm sure some of you know. I mean, that there are a couple of very reputable psychiatrists on YouTube. Okay, and again, I have the you know, a great amount of respect and admiration, and God bless them for, you know, having the balls to show up and you know, let the proverbial genie out of the bottle, because that's what this is, people. It's a big fucking scam, I'll tell you. Again, pardon mon français, s'il vous plaît, but so. And I know, wait a minute. Oh, I'll say this anyway. Okay. in the way I finally terminated things with her. I said, this is back in the fall of 2013, I'm ready to provide you with an update into my life plans as a result of the ill effects I have experienced from prolonged exposure to Zyprexa, which I should have said in parentheses, an unethical clinical crime against humanity. Okay, so like I said, as a result of the ill effects I have experienced from prolonged exposure to Zyprexa, which appears will likely plague me for the rest of my life, I have decided I can no longer be under your medical care. Bitch. Yeah, I would have loved to have said that. So, again, I mean, this really doesn't tell me much of anything, and I'm very ticked off about this, because it's like I wanted I wanted to know what happened if and when they grilled her, like I said, about these these comments she made during that last year. There's no mention of it here. Sorry for repeating myself, okay? But so I mean that's pretty much it. So I'm really not sure if you took much away of anything. I realize there are probably some things I probably should not have mentioned. Again, but it's very upsetting to know this was her clinical perspective of my condition and my existence. And how are we doing for time here? Oh boy, this video is going really long. Sorry about that. So let me just see if we have anything else here. And like I said, again, these people know how to cover their ass. And I know I said this earlier. Okay, again, you might want to make your own notes during an appointment. Okay, you've got to show these bastards, that you're not going to be dicked around. Okay. You know what? If you're still with me, again, like I said, this came down to insufficient evidence. Okay. Now, I want to expand upon that and just for a little bit. Okay. Now, as some of you know, okay, I'm going back to the early 90s, some 25 plus years ago, okay? There was the psychiatrist I went to, okay, and I'll try to keep this within 3 minutes, all right? First time I speak to him, he throws out the curveball, says that a colleague of his is going to be prescribing, okay? And I'm like, wait a minute, something doesn't sound right. Just a temporary thing, he says, okay? Now, and this is the clown who I referred to in a couple of the animated videos I made, who had the wardrobe malfunction with the zipper on his pants. Okay, because I found out, after a year, this guy was totally disorganized, mistakes, excuses, forgetfulness. Ring a bell with psycho cunt. And like I said, after like a year or so, I did a little checking into this and find out the guy was on probation. His license to prescribe had been suspended, and he also got hit with a $5,000 fine because back in the 80s, he had sexual relations with a patient in his office. And again, this was my first true enlightenment as to the kind of bullshit that goes on in this field of medicine. Okay? And I've had one problem after another, because it's like everything is a clinical cover-up. Okay? Now the reason I'm mentioning, Mr. Dickhead here is because, now, if you're wondering, well, how he got nailed, right? And you're thinking, well, the patient, she reported this and turned him in, right? wrong. It didn't happen that way. He himself reported this and turned himself in and admitted to this inappropriate behavior. Okay? Now, I'm sure many of you know, okay, admission of guilt, it's like, cutting off your head, But of course it was the other head that he was playing around with, right? Now, but I mean, so like I said, I mean, admission of guilt, okay, I mean, that's the last thing you want to do in any career, and especially in medicine, holy crap. Okay, now the reason I'm mentioning this, seriously, think if it was the opposite. Think if she, the patient, had reported this to the state. What kind of physical, tangible, credible evidence would have she had against him? Because if that had been the scenario, all he would have had to, he could have had the option to deny everything, because there would have been insufficient evidence, you see? And, I mean, unless she had a sticky DNA sample of his in her underwear, I mean, where would have been the evidence, okay? And I know I'm being mega sarcastic here, but, hey, tough crap. So I and again, I'm mentioning this because, again, again, I was trying to fill in the gaps, of my story here, of my experience, to enlighten you and just apply it to yourself in the event, you're having any issues or troubles and have any intent of ever, pursuing any kind of legal or disciplinary action against your clinician or prescriber. Again, so again, it as I always like to say, innocent until proven guilty, right? God bless America. And so I mean, really, it's no. And the other thing I was going to say, see, I mean, and again, again, being very perplexed and mystified why, in this investigation, okay, of launched by my complaint with PsychoCunt, all right, it's like, well, again, obviously I didn't have tangible evidence. She did her best to absolve herself of any wrongdoing, painted me as a a totally non-credible asshole, and you know what? See again, and I cannot help but think, again, as far as those horrendous, unethical remarks that she came out during that final year or so. Seriously, think about this from a legal and professional perspective. Okay. Again, I mean, if she had admitted to these things, now, I don't know, that may have had the potential of committing career suicide. And throwing her career right down the toilet, okay? But, it pains me to say that this, this apparently is like the standard protocol on the prescribing. She saw me going downhill, and she was, based upon what I've read in these notes, she had that Zyprexa just waiting there for me. Okay. And I don't know. So I just by the way, sorry. I just wanted to say I'm tired, I'm sorry. I mean, again, stammering now, all right? I mean, that's one good reason I say, never trust a smiling cat, right? And, you know, it's like, you know, I mean, again, my sincere hope is that some of you, you know, found this informative. Okay, I hope you don't think any differently of me. All right, for, you know, disclosing some of these clinical notes that she made about me. All right, you know, you know, hey, as I always like to say, it just seems in the world we live in, you know, if you have any kind of mental health issue or condition, you know, kind of keeping my voice down, sorry, you know, you are basically fucked, okay, from the establishment, from mainstream society, and you know, it sucks, right? So, you know, and I just wanted to, you know, I just wanted to say how, you know, and again, I don't know if I'm going to do another, you know, Zyprexa withdrawal video. Maybe I will. I don't know. Again, really not that much new to say, but you know, I did want to mention how, you know, this may be a bit difficult for me to say. I have to admit, I was very touched and humbled by the number of thumbs up I got for the June 2016 video. I was very touched by that. And, you know, hey, it's always nice to know who your true friends are, right? And again, my apologies for being rather sporadic in making an appearance and in my interaction and communicating and responding to comments, but you know, you know, so you know, it's just a you know, like I said, I really did appreciate that. Okay, so you know, and fortunately last night I might have slept, I don't know, 5.5-ish, whatever, I don't know, but maybe, you know, and again, this is run on way too long. It looks like I'm going to have to break this video up into 2 separate files here. Well, they're already 2 separate, but you know what I mean, two separate uploads. So okay, so I guess that's going to do it. I don't know. And like I said, maybe I'll do another video with just more trial and error of my ongoing quest of trying to sleep, and so okay, so I don't know if we can get a little hello here. I don't know. Whoop. Whoop. Wake up. Oh, gee, I wish I could sleep. Oh. Okay, like I said, I really do enjoy cats, you know, and cat humor, okay? And you don't have to feed them. You know, you don't have to worry about waking them up at night. And, you know, you don't have to clean up after their shit either, okay? So, I was hoping to get a little meow out of here, but, I don't know. A little noisy here on the joints. Use a little WD-40. Alright, so here I am playing with the cats. I don't know, but I better shut it off before things get nasty in here. Whoops, that was a bit loud. Alright. Yeah. You know, anything for a good laugh, right? But of course, the clinical joke was on me, right? You know, Oh, sorry. You know what? The one thing I was going to say about the blame game and all the finger pointing I've done over these past 4 to 5 years. Um, you know, and I'm not going to elaborate on this now. But one person who I've never pointed the finger at in this blame game is myself, because you know what? It was my choice to entrust my health into her supposedly capable hands. Okay, huge mistake. Uh, these clinicians, like I said, I mean, I absolutely don't know. I don't know who's worse. A clinician in this field of medicine or a used car salesman. I don't know. Everything's a big fucking joke. So hopefully better times are ahead. I guess that's all I can say. So, all right. As I said earlier, if you want to leave comments, you can. I'm not going to promise or guarantee that I'm going to respond to them. Okay, but all right. So that's going to do it, and hope to see you again in the event the world doesn't blow up, thanks to our fucking assholes running this country now. Don't get me started on that one. All right. All right. So thank you again, and I guess we'll see you soon. All right. Thank you. Bye.